Welcome back, guys, and today we are going to go over this Airmap stuff some more. Yesterday we talked about its use and planning for in an urban environment and stuff like that. Kind of looked at the map a little bit, went over the filters and stuff like that. So today, for this session, we are going to cover the flights area, my aircraft, and go in and plan a new flight. So, again, we're here at Northside High School. We're going to look at that. As we can see down here, we're in Fort Smith. That's the grid coordinates for kind of this area we're looking at for GPS. Right now, it is raining outside, 60 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 degrees Celsius. So that kind of gives us weather info as we're looking at it on the go. So the profile, that's where you're going to go in and set in your name, your phone number, stuff like that. With my aircraft, that's going to be the aircraft you have. You want to add some, you can. For this particular profile, I have a Parrot Anafi that's listed under Anafi, and a DJI Phantom 4 listed that way with this particular account. This is pretty much an account where I try out drones, kind of play around a little bit. Or I do specific testing with some stuff. Then we can go up here to flights. With flights, we can see current, future, past. Current is anything we've got planned that we should be doing at this set time. So any flight that's supposed to occur at this exact time would be in the current. If we had an active flight going, it'd be in the current. A future flight is anything that occurs at any point in the future, as it says. Past flights, all the flights that you have done through Airmap in the past are going to be on here. It's going to have your flight date, the time, the start date, time, end date, time, location, filed altitude, and any notes that might be in there. So this one says action required. Please review flight briefing. This went through the FAA at Foxtrot Sierra Mike, which is Fort Smith, and it's got this red symbol here, and then our confirmation number from when we filed. This red symbol is going to mean that it was denied, essentially. So with this particular flight in August of 2019, when I initially filed for this flight, it was good to go. I'm just going to go ahead and click on, I'll tell you more about that as we go through. Click on the three dots. We got flight plan details, duplicate flight, and delete flight. If we don't need this information anymore, we can delete the flight. If we want to try to recreate that, we can duplicate it with the same exact information. Or we can look at the flight plan details. So with that particular flight, when I filed, it got authorized, was good to go. I had filed a couple days out ahead of time, and then whenever it came down to it, like about 3 hours before, a lot of changes happened in the airspace structure. So this is the area I'd filed for a 1 hour duration at 100 feet above ground level. As you can see here, there's kind of a park back here in that circle. You got 540, Rogers, Phoenix, and you see our airport. So that is well within 2 miles of the Fort Smith Airport. It is within 1 mile of the Fort Smith Airport. And right over here is where Target and Best Buy are. So that's up there at Hardscrabble Country Club, where I was going to be flying around for that. So within the 3 hours, a bunch of changes went into effect where this went from a 100-foot zone, maximum sector altitude zone, to a 0 no-fly zone, or at least a major portion of it. I think this portion went to that, and maybe this part was still 100 over here, but regardless, the bulk of it was no longer good. So pull up the flight details. That's the area I filed for. Pull up my flight brief. It is going to show me what the weather was like for that day. at the times I had filed. Then it shows up the red symbol was authorization invalidated. Now because the controlled airspace authorization was now invalid due to recent map changes. Please delete this flight to notify the FAA that you have acknowledged this notice. So I filed, it was approved, and then later after it got approved, it was then denied. So that's one of the downfalls, one of the things you got to deal with sometimes. Looking at a different flight though, let's say this October 18th, it looks like this might have been one around a football game. Look at the flight plan details. Zoom out right there. So there's the north side football field. It was 31 minutes 49 seconds. Registered for 6 o'clock. So yeah, that makes sense to be about the football game. So we registered for 6. It gave us weather information from 5 to 7. Hour before, hour after. And it was approved. So there's that empirical evidence you can go back and look at, historical evidence. You can go back and look at. You can kind of keep flight logs this way. And then also if something was to happen or somebody was to come back and say, hey, I need to talk to you about this flight on whatever, you can kind of pull it up and have a little bit better idea. So that covers the flights, my aircraft portion. We're just going to go ahead and go in here and plan a couple flights. So we're going to click on that plus sign, pulls up new flight plan. Maybe. If I move my mouse real fast, it gets big. That's cool. There we go. So click map to draw a flight area. We've got it. Okay. So this green spot, again, is north side. This is B Street North B Street, Rogers Avenue, Greenwood, Benson's. So that's all the important landmarks we need to know right there. This is a straight on bird's eye view, or not necessarily bird's eye, but overview. This is kind of angled. So I'll show you that why in a second. So we'll go to this top circle. Click map to draw a circle area. So let's say we're going to fly around the football field just for our purposes. Put your little dot. It's going to populate some airspace around there. Looks like it's got a 100-foot radius from the center of that circle. So down here at the bottom, we can expand our radius all the way up to 1,000 feet. So we've done that. Give it a couple seconds to process since my internet is running really slow with it storming outside. And this circle will grow. So you can see the rest of the map turned orange. That's because it's recognized that we're planning in an area that there is airspace and stuff like schools around. So it's trying to get that in there for our planning purposes. So now it's jumped up to a 1,000-foot radius. Over here you can see where that's grown. And then we can fly up to 200 feet in this area. But let's say we weren't in this protected area. It'll let you plan up to 1,000 feet. But then again, we know that even if we're not in controlled airspace, the highest we can fly is 400 feet above ground level. So the only time we could use this 1,000-foot function is if we were flying at something if we were like looking at a tower that stood 600 feet above the ground and we needed to go above it, then we could go to that 1,000 feet. And again, give it a little time and it'll, unless it jumped up and I missed it. I don't think it did though. But we will jump it back down here to 200 feet for our planning purposes. So let's say we don't need to So we put that radius out there. Let's say we know we don't need to fly over Benson's over here. We can click and move that circle maybe over here to that bottom corner, and it is going to readjust everything, shift it over to where we don't have as much of that. But let's say we don't want to fly within a radius. We can go over here. Let's say for our purpose that we are going to have a parade from right in front of the school here on B Street and end up here at Old Greenwood Road, or end up down here at Creekmore Park. Say right in there. And we're going to be doing drone footage of that parade. So we can go here, click map to draw flight path. We're going to be starting here in front of the school. So we'll click there, and it's got a little dot. We're going to be following roads, so we'll come here, click again, and we'll just trace out our route that this parade will be going down, that we'll be flying back and forth on, putting dots in where we deem necessary. Say it turns down Old Greenwood Road, and then comes over here where we're going to end our flight. Okay, so it ended that. Then we can determine how wide of a flight path we need. We're not going to need one that's going to cover a block each direction because we're just focusing on that main center road. So we'll jump it down here. 100 feet, 150 feet on both sides. It's kind of small. Let's jump it up to 200 feet. That's pretty small. So we'll do 200 feet. It'll plan it out. We can follow it along over here and see our height and everything for going to Creekmore. But let's say we're not doing that, so we're going to get rid of that. Our third option that we will use is in here. It'll be this little polygon. Again, a little bit of lag here. I don't know why that popped up again. It should have been deleted. All right. Click map to draw flight area. All right. So now let's say we're going to be flying around Northside since it's under construction right now. We want to fly all over the campus and get some pictures, videos of the construction that's going on. So we'll put a dot right there. Come over here, put another one. Let's come up here and come over here, and we'll double click. Now we got a little polygon, which is our flight area. And there it is, populated. Let's say that we want to be more detailed, more specific. We can click and drag our stuff around over here to make it fit whatever design shape we need it to fit. So we can make the flight area fit our needs for whatever we're going to do. It's going to take it a minute or two. I did a lot of clicking, so it's going to take it a minute or two to catch up. And then we'll go through it and finish filling out the plan. All right, there it goes. Now it's caught up. Okay, so this area, this box over here is our flight plan. Our altitude set for 200 feet, date and time. Click on that box, it brings up a calendar. Say we're wanting to fly tomorrow because we're not going to fly this late at night. So we're set up for April 23rd. Let's say, just put, let's go for 12:30 p.m. So a little bit after lunch. Set that in there. Our duration, let's say we're going to fly for Ask pilot and aircraft. Pilot, Brandon Herring, aircraft. We'll throw the Phantom 4 on there. Flight context, is the drone registered? Yes, it is registered. Is the pilot pilot in command obtained a 107 certification? Yes. It's got these little information boxes on the side. If you're not sure what it's talking about, you can click on that and it pulls up that information right there. Does the drone have anti-collision lighting? No, it does not, but we're flying in the middle of the day, so it doesn't need to. Have you completed your pre-flight check? We know I always do a check the day before and a check right before. So yes, I have. Is the flight occurring within visual line of sight? It has to, so yes. What is the first name of the pilot? At this point, the form is asking for some personal information that I do not want to show over YouTube and in class. So you don't need to see 8 more seconds of space. Then ask for your phone number. Please provide a brief note to justify the safety of the operation. Is a controlled flight at north side, or controlled flight for high school UAS class. Maximum speed of the flight, let's say we'll go 20. It'll pop up over here. 15. So jump it up a little bit more, give us some flex room in case we want to have some fun. Expected visibility, I'm planning for it to be more than 10 statute miles tomorrow. Weight of the drone, we'll say it's probably about 4.5, 5 pounds. Okay, so now we got that. Now we can go through and brief the flight. So since we planned for about 12:30 for an hour, it's going to give us an hour before, hour after of weather. So we've got the winds coming from the northwest at 13 to 12 miles per hour. Visibility is 10 statute miles. And it looks like we're good. We're getting further away. We're getting a bigger temperature dew point spread the further out it goes. So that 12:30 should be pretty good. Not raining or anything. It's telling us that the pending is authorization's pending. We'll be notified once we submit it. Then you can go through and click through all the other rules that you need to consider. All that good stuff. So then once we do that, submit flight plan. It is submitting. I suspect it is going to give us a pending. Alright, it has been submitted. Oh, authorization accepted for flight plan. I did this exact same thing like 30 minutes ago and it gave me a pending. But that there said we were approved. Come back in here and check our flights. Should be a future flight now. There we go. Tomorrow, future flight. And it is approved. So, good deal. As long as the weather holds out for us tomorrow, we could go fly. But I realize that I'm not going to be able to make this flight tomorrow because I've got meetings. So, I can go ahead in here and delete that flight. Are you sure? Yes. Now I can delete that flight. So, come 12:30, if a air ambulance, air evac needs to fly over Northside High School on their way to the hospital, they don't have to be looking for a drone at 200 feet. They know that it's been canceled. And there we've got the confirmation that it has been canceled. So, good to go. I'm going to wrap it up there. If you have any questions, let me know. I hope you're doing well. I hope your other classes are going well. As always, you can call me, text me, email me if you need anything, have any questions. I'm always here to help. So, with that being said, have a good day, and we'll see you next time.